always liked the jetpack in the Real American Hero line, so I figured I'd make my own. I have a couple of these Jenga blocks that I'd figured I'd use for my jetpack. I might use a small one and this larger one. I also have these caps that I'll use for the jet engine portions and some bendy straws to make some hoses. I glued the small Jenga piece onto the large piece. I thought I'd give it more depth and interest that way. I love the super glue, it works best for me. It doesn't take long for the super glue to dry. I cut the tops off of these caps and then used a screw to screw them into these CO2 cylinders. I didn't have to glue these into place, the screws held them in there pretty well. To hold the CO2 cylinders onto the blocks of wood, I came up with this idea, this plastic canvas, and wrapping the tanks around the block using the plastic canvas. I think it's going to give it an interesting look, and it should hold these tanks on here pretty well. I used some zip ties to hold it into place. It holds pretty well, and it'll probably hold better than just gluing it or something. After finishing both of them and getting them into place, I cut the little tabs off of the zip ties and then started working on the hose portions, kind of like in the original jetpack. I have a larger black straw and then 2 paper straws that I'm going to create this little T-section with the hoses. I use super glue to hold everything together, and it seemed to work alright. And then glue it into place onto the backpack. I ended up having trouble getting the hoses to fit right, so I found 2 other little bendy straw pieces and came up with this idea that the hoses would fit onto these little round nodule bits. And also, I have some other beads over here towards the bottom. I'm not sure if they're extra thrusters or maybe intake valves. Who knows? I think it gives it an interesting look and makes it more my own. For the controller, I'm using some of this chopstick, and I pulled the core out of a shoelace for the hose. And I have some wood bits, random wood bits I'm going to use, as well as a little gem that I think I'm going to use for, maybe it's a spotlight or something. And it'll all glue together onto the hand controller for both the jetpacks. I'm using this ultra flat black paint to give it a couple of coats of paint. I had to go over this several times to get all those little nooks and crannies. It makes more sense to me to have a 6-point harness like the original Jonny Quest jetpacks. So I cut a little portion out of the top here for shoulder straps. And then I'll super glue those and hold them with some alligator clamps until they dry. For the waist belt portion, I'm using some zip ties and then looping the elastic over that and super gluing that into place. For the last harness bits, I'm going to use some elastic here at the bottom, and this will go up around between the legs and fasten to the belt, giving it 6 points of contact. I think it seems to be more realistic. I got this paracord bracelet belt buckle that I think it looked really cool as a fastener for this jetpack. I already looped the shoulder pieces through the waist part. At this point I realized I didn't have enough elastic cord to go between the legs, so I had to come up with another idea on how to finish that. I found a round bit of elastic and then attach some of this black ribbon, and this portion will go up around the belt after it goes between the legs. I think that'll look pretty cool. For the controller piece, I put a little sticker as a fuel gauge and then a couple of these gems. One is red and one is blue, and then I have a black one. Maybe the red means stop, blue means go. I don't know. It just looks cool. I'm not sure what this little bead in the front's going to be, but it gives it more interest and it's not so dull. I have some helmets for them. I'll probably need to get more helmets. I'm pretty pleased with the jetpack, and I think it turned out pretty cool. Doesn't quite look like the G.I. Joe jetpack, but that's okay. It's my own, and I'm alright with that. Now my adventure team has some transportation. Maybe next I'll make a chopper backpack. They can carry the weapons in front without getting in the way. It just slings around their shoulder and neck. And then the control stick in one hand. I'll have to find them different helmets though. But the harness really fits well, and it works pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with it. I attach these pieces in back, and this will either hold gear or hold the straps together when the jetpack is not in use. The backpack comes off pretty easy. Unsnap the waist snap, the pieces or the loops come off, and it comes off real easy. You gotta attach it all back together, and then tuck the straps up in the back and put the hoses through those little loop, and the controller in this other loop, and there you go. And then you could carry it around. Well, that's all I have for you. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to click that like button and subscribe if you're not subscribed already. I'd really appreciate it. And drop a comment. And don't forget to collect, inspire, and create. I'll see you in the next video.